Here is a gentle reminder. Now, it's going to be a little bit of a rough reminder that you're a specific person that you're madly in love with, that you're keep checking your phone to see if they message you, that you keep stalking their social media. Maybe you're doing drive-bys outside this motherfucker's house. That motherfucker that you're so in love with, they ain't shit. They ain't shit. You are God of your experience. You are the shit. And that motherfucker who you're thinking about right now, they're nothing. They're meaningless. But you are assigning an importance to them for whatever reason. Now, I get it. I ain't here to shade no motherfucker because they want to manifest a person. Because if you want a relationship, if you want a booty call, you want a friends with benefit, I don't know what you're looking for with this motherfucker, okay? But you do deserve that, and that is yours in a timeline, okay? So when someone talks about, oh, you shouldn't manifest a specific person and focus on you, well, yeah, they're right and they're wrong in my opinion, because the focus ought to always be fully towards you, and maybe just a little droplet on the specific motherfucker, because you're the focal point of your reality. You're God, right? So if you're focused on you and you're saying how amazing you are and how you deserve to be treated like royalty in your relationships, and you deserve anyone that you want to show up for you the way that you expect them to, right? Then yes, you ought to be embodying the version of you that is living that life. But the specific motherfucker don't matter. They don't matter. And I'm going to give you proof that they don't matter. If you've ever had a crush, or if you've ever dealt with someone in the past, or you have an ex, or whoever the case, and at that point in time, that is now in the past, but at that moment it was the now moment, you're like, oh my God, I'm in love with them, they're so amazing, and this and that, and whatever the case. Now, if you think about that motherfucker, you're like, ooh, what was I thinking? Like, damn, I wanted that. Like, that ain't all that. They're not all that. The fuck? What the fuck was I thinking? Okay? So this goes to show you that motherfucker, okay, the past individual, did not change. They're still the same motherfucker. You changed. You are now a version of you that doesn't want them, and you see the faults in them, whereas before you were seeing only gold, okay? So there's your proof. The specific motherfucker does not matter, because it's your perception of them that is making them special. You are the one that's giving them that energy. You are the one that's giving them that attention. And you know what you're doing when you're wondering why they ain't call you, you ain't get a text back, or they left you on red, or they posted this pic, or whatever the fuck else. You know what that is? You are creating them as a God in your experience. That's what you're doing. Because whenever I hear someone talk about SP, okay, in that bracket of manifestation, here's where, in my opinion, motherfuckers, because, and I understand it's because your emotions are involved, and, you might love this person and they might have some great qualities that you admire, but they are still not more important than you. And whenever you're saying, well, why didn't they call? But they posted this, but they said that, but this happened in the past. You are now playing a victim in your reality, and you're giving SP the reins, and you're giving them the free will to do what they want to you, but they do not have free will. I've elaborated on this in my other videos. This video is not going to be specifically about that free will, but this motherfucker cannot operate outside of the parameters that you have set, either for them or for relationships in general, or perhaps if you are someone who needs a little attention to their self-concept, then yes, because of your self-concept, okay? It is maybe all three of those, but it is definitely one of those. Because when you elevate your consciousness to knowing that you are God and everyone is you and everyone can only obey the commands that you give them, whether consciously or subconsciously, you are going to see that they ain't shit and you do not need them, because you don't fucking need them. It might seem now like you need them. I need this text so I can feel good. Really? Oh, let's unpack this, okay? This video might go all over the place, but it needs to be fucking said, because some of you need to fucking hear it. You need a text message. You need that? Really? Because to me over here, I'm like, well, I mean, you need water, you need oxygen. A text message, you don't fucking need that. You want that, and that's okay. But if you're coming from a place of lack and desperation, it's going to feel like a need. And I promise you, if you need a text message to validate your worthiness, because that's what it is. If you're saying you need them to validate something, oh, but they need to hit me up so I can know I'm important. You should already know you're fucking important. And this is why in the manifestation community, I get it. Things can, it can be misconstrued where they say, but you don't need the person, just focus on you. And yeah, that's true to an extent, like I said, okay? Because you have to be okay at true neutral. And true neutral means you either have them or you don't have them. And you have to be okay with either. And I'm going to explain it to you like this. You have a friend, okay? And I understand that there's different things that you might want from a friend compared to a relationship or someone like that, right? There's more, it's more personal, but just follow me, okay? You have a friend and you're content in your friendship with them. And you're not wondering, are they going to text me back? You just assume that they are. Law of assumption. You assume that your friends are going to get back to you. So why can you not assume that your SP is in love with you already? Why can you not assume that the SP is going to get back to you? Why can you not assume positive things about the SP? But you can do it for a friend. And it is the same thing. It is the same thing, because when you are in a secure relationship, and I mean with yourself, that other motherfucker just shows up the way that you want them to, and you don't have to lift a finger. But you have either a self-concept issue, you have a program about relationships in general, or you have a story about this individual that is causing this need. Okay, it's causing this like unbridled desire for this individual, and only you know why. Okay, so let's unpack this further. You need a text message from them. So if you don't get the text message, what's going to happen? I mean, really, let's just go all in. They didn't text you back. Okay, are you gonna still be here with us? You might feel like shit, but you're still gonna be here with us. Things are still gonna be moving. But because you allowed yourself to put so much importance on this motherfucker who is irrelevant, I promise you they're fucking irrelevant. They just seem important now because your ego formed an attachment to them and said that, okay, yeah, this is important, but it's not more important than you, and that is the key. You need validation from them because you're placing them as giving you something that you have not given to yourself or you have not accepted as possessing yourself. This is why everyone is you pushed out, and specific individuals, especially in a sexual romantic context, they can be the best mirrors, and that is why they can be the most triggering. But if you keep placing more importance on you, okay? If it is a self-concept thing, if you feel throughout your day that you don't deserve good things, that things just never work out for you, that you're kind of in a woe is me mentality, and that's just a general experience for your life, then it's self-concept. And it could be coupled with a poor relationship program as well. I don't know what's going on with you. You know what's going on with you. So if you're feeling like shit throughout the day, then yeah, that might be a self-concept thing. But now how do you view relationships? If you view relationships poorly and your self-concept needs attention, it's going to amplify it. Then let's say you have a story that SP is non-committal or whatever the case it is. That's going to be even more amplifying it. But it all comes back to self. So if you do not need to work on self-concept, if you know you have a good self-concept, what story do you have about relationships? If you have a story, whatever the fuck it is, and again, you don't need to go deep diving into different things. You can just say, okay, have I seen this play out before? Oh shit, then maybe that's a story. And then what is that story saying? And you would go about attaining the opposite of that story, okay? Now, if you have a good self-concept, you have a good story about relationships, but it's just that, this one motherfucker right here, they're different or something, right? Then you have to work on changing that story about the person. So I would recommend, especially with specific motherfuckers, okay, that you take your focus just a tiny bit off of them. And this is what I always get asked, but does that mean that they're going to feel it and they're going to stop paying attention to me if I'm not focused on them? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because if everyone is you pushed out, you cannot lose this specific individual. You cannot. How can you lose something that's you? It's already done, okay? So figure out what it is that you need to work on. But I'm telling you, if you are in a place where you're desperate and you're spiraling and you're fucking screaming, crying, throwing shit because this motherfucker ain't giving you that attention, that is the time that you give that attention to yourself, if only in the moment. And I know no motherfucker wants to hear this, but if you are not stable yourself on your own, and I'm not saying, again, not to manifest a specific person, I'm not saying not to focus on being in a relationship, but if you're crashing out because you ain't get a text back, you got some lifting to do, okay? You need to build that muscle tone in terms of how you are viewing either yourself or relationships or the person in general, because this motherfucker ain't shit. So what's happening is that every time you complain about SP, and I know that this can be, common amongst friends where, they just call motherfucker and they're like, yo, this motherfucker said this, that motherfucker said that, and it can be, it can be fun, right, to gossip with people. But you're also reanimating the story that this motherfucker don't want you, and they're not showing up the way that you want them to. So it's inner self-talk. How are you talking to yourself about this individual? Are you continually saying that they don't want you, that they never get back to you, they're not committed, they don't make time to you? You're continually saying that? Or are you just like, okay, you know what, maybe that's what happened in 3D, but it's neutral and they really don't matter, I matter. And when I start viewing them as being my servant, as showing up for me the way that I want, regardless of what's happening in the 3D, they are getting that information as well. And you have to cut out the shit talking with your friends about this SP, even joking around. Let me tell you, even joking about your fucking dating life, your subconscious mind, remember, because it doesn't know what the fuck is real, what the fuck is fake, it's just saying, oh, this is repetition, okay, we're gonna go with this. Even joking around can create that story within you. So how do you think about yourself, number one? How do you think about relationships, number two? And how do you view this person, number three? Anything unfavorable, you got to stop focusing on that. And if you are spiraling because they're not giving you attention, you're blowing up their phone and you're doing this, you know what you're doing? You're trying to control the 3D, you're trying to get a quick fix. It's like an addict, and they need that fix, and they don't care where they get it from. They're just like, no, I need it, right? That's the same fucking thing, only it's mental. And this motherfucker, for whatever reason, is your drug of choice, when it is really the opposite. So you want to reverse the roles. Now, I don't know what type of relationship you're looking for, okay? I mean, if you want someone obsessed with you, if you want someone healthfully in love with you, or whatever the case, I don't know what the fuck you want. You know what the fuck you want. But they cannot be your drug of choice. You are their drug of choice. You are the only thing that gets them going. You are the only motherfucker in their line of vision. And you have to start thinking about that no matter what is going on in the 3D, because I promise you, if you look back into when you first met this motherfucker, what thoughts were you having about relationships in general, about yourself in general, maybe about this person in general, whether it's even something they said to you, oh, I don't want a commitment right now. You still had to accept a part of that is true, when you could have just said, yeah, you don't want a commitment from anyone but me because I'm God and I'm the best thing that's ever happened to you. And, some motherfuckers are going to say solipsism, narcissism, but self-love. And I don't mean in a way where you're like enforcing them in 3D. I mean, in your mind, you're like, I'm the best thing since sliced bread that ever happened to this motherfucker. So of course they want to be with me. And you have to start viewing yourself as the main attraction, and they're just like a sidewinder. Okay, they're not the star of your show. And a lot of individuals on the SP manifestation journey are centering everything. But SP said this, but SP did that, but that, but that, but that, but. And if you're doing that, guess what? You're saying that SP is God of your reality, and they did this and they said that. So you have accepted on some level the parameters that it seems like they gave you, but you really gave it to yourself in the avenue of another motherfucker. Because if you had went into the relationship and your self-concept was good, and you know that you don't need a relationship, you know you want a relationship to share experiences with, that's totally different than I need a partner to validate that I'm important, I need a partner to give me attention. You see the difference? Whereas I want a partner to share my life with, I want a partner to make memories with. Do you see the difference? So if you had went into it from a way where you're not viewing this individual as your enemy, or you don't have a story about them, even if they told you something that you accepted as true, nothing is true unless you say it to be true. So look back on the events of how you met this specific motherfucker that you're so into them. Did you have a situation like this play out before in any area of your life or in relationships in general? Did SP say something to you that you took and you're like, yeah, I accept that is true, right? What was it? Okay, now again, you don't necessarily need to do all of this. You really don't. You can just simply say right now, SP is perfectly conformed, and you know exactly how you want them to be conformed, and you let it go. But then if you say that, and then you go about looking at the 3D, why didn't they text me? You're checking your phone every 2 seconds. You're saying, but I'm doing everything right, and this motherfucker got their SP in 3 days, and like, you're not that other motherfucker. You're not, okay? You're you, and you don't know someone else's stories. You don't know how they talk to themselves in their mind, because that other motherfucker that got the SP in 3 days, they have different shit going on in their psyche, in their subconscious mind than you do. So you cannot compare yourself to anyone. If you are looking at success stories for motivation or inspiration, that's different than saying, oh, but they got this and that and I can't. You're like, oh, wow, like if they're able to do that, you know, I'm no different from that. I mean, you're different as you're an individual, but you know what I mean? All manifestations are the same. So you're like, if they can do it, then of course I can do it too. There's a difference of how you're looking at things. But if you are viewing this motherfucker as so important that you need some sort of validation from them, that if they don't give you attention, or they don't commit to you, or if they don't say this, or they don't do that, you're looking in the wrong direction. So I don't know what your specific issue is, only you do. I have given you some examples of how you can figure out what that is. But if you even just want to say from this moment forward, the SP is not the superstar of my reality, and anytime I feel like I want to go to the version of me who is having an issue with the SP, the perfect version of us in our relationship, that version of me wouldn't even be thinking that way. That version of me wouldn't even be checking my phone, because I would know that they're hitting me up anyway. Do you see what I'm saying? And it's really the same, you know, as anyone that you're friends with, or you have a coworker that you're really close to, or a family member, right? These individuals in your experience, you just trust that they're going to get back to you. You trust that you're going to be able to see them again. You trust that they're going to give you attention. You trust that they care about you. You trust that they love you, that they're there for you, right? So what is it about the SP? What is it? And it all comes back to you. So it's self-concept, it's something with relationships, or it's something that SP told you and you accepted it as true. And now your only job is to say, okay, you know what? This 3D is neutral. I'm going to wipe the slate clean. And if you're really dealing with someone that you have history with, you cannot look at any parts of the old story. You cannot, because that's going to cause wavering. And if you're wavering, that's why you get hot and cold. That's why you get, oh, they came in obsessed and then they ghosted, right? Because you're wavering. SP's in love with me. SP's so obsessed with me. Oh my God. Oh, but they didn't get back to me. Do you see? So look at this specific motherfucker. Like I said in one of my other videos, if you want to look at them as an experiment, what are they saying to you? What are they showing to you? How are they presenting to you? And then you say, okay, that's a story that I'm going to change, and it starts within me. And you really don't need to lift a finger in the 3D. You could be blocked on everything. That motherfucker will find a fucking pigeon and bring you a note. I'm telling you, because the how is not for you to know or care about. You remain focused on the version of them that you want. And if you feel like you're going to start to spiral, that is when you go in and you say, no, I'm giving this motherfucker too much power right now. So what, they can get back to you. You're here for you. And because you're here for you and they are you pushed out, they are still there. You're not pushing them away. You're not dismantling the manifestation if you take the time and focus on yourself. And then that's when you would do nervous system regulation if you need to. That's when you would do self-concept affirmations if you need to. That's when you would go into a meditation if you need to. Like, I don't know what is going to calm you down in the moment. Only you know that. But what I do know is that every time you find yourself, okay, looking at, what are they doing? What if, okay, no. What if everything was perfect right now and it's unfolding beautifully for me? And right now, I'm going to embody the version of me that has this relationship. Even if I'm a little shaky at first, I'm going to calm myself down. And I'm going to say that I am the master of my universe. And this motherfucker is so lucky that I even have an awareness that they exist. Because that's the truth. And it's not narcissistic. What it is you knowing who you are and knowing that any individual, whether it's an SP, friend, family, neighbor, acquaintance, coworker, whatever, you are the main superstar. You are the only one because you are the only thinker. And then that's not being conceited, but you have to understand it's all coming from you. And all of these other individuals, they are just playing a role that you have assigned to them. And I promise you, if you even want to take the time to look at everyone in your life, what do you perceive of them? Compare that to how they're showing up in the 3D. I promise you, you're going to find a lot of congruence there. And the SP is no different. So tone down the emotions. If you feel like you're going to spiral, calm yourself down and say, you know what? This is not the version of me that is in this relationship that I want, and I have to be the change first before the outside can follow. And then what do you do after that? You keep persisting. And I don't mean you persist where you call them 8,000 times, you drive by their house, oh, but I'm persisting, because it's like, no, you persist in your mind. And if you feel that you're going to spiral, you say, everything is good, everything is unfolding perfectly, I'm the star, period.